enlightenment or become the Buddha in age 35, and until age 81, over 46 years, that he continually gave varieties of the teachings. All those teachings are known as teachings of the nature, where things are, to explore. So, and according to the Buddha's teaching, we living beings are not really very much connected to the nature. We are kind of alienated from the nature, even though we are part of the nature, but we kind of like carried by extreme idea and notions to kind of then we formed our own realistic or the reality in our own way, and that really not lining up with the nature it is. So we carried with that. But Buddha, and then in the world, we are having a lot of difficulty, troubles because of that. And the Buddha saw, when he got enlightenment, why all these troubles are happening. So he saw, because we're not really connecting to the nature as we should be. Therefore, Buddha taught exactly where nature is. Buddha did not give anything that is not nature. And he did not say anything more than nature, where the nature is. Nature of this universe, nature of the individuals, and nature of our mind. That is what really Buddha taught. So then if we like to kind of pacify and make everything kind of peaceful harmony, we should connect to nature. Externally, inward to our physical level, and a very deep level to our mind level. And when we connect to the nature, then everything is quite fine. There's nothing really need to change too much. It's nature, and we connected to that. So for that reason, Buddha gave varieties of the teachings, as I said, from age 35. And first his teaching was a Four Noble Truths teaching, then continually give the varieties of teaching one after another until age 81. So over 46 years, Buddha gave variety of teachings. And all those teachings came to Tibet in the 8th century. 8th century, at the time of the Ngurupem Masambhava, great teacher, Master Chenda Rakchita, and Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal. These three great beings are known as founder members of the Tibetan Buddhism. From that, since that when established that Buddhist school, Buddhism, from that on, many sub-branch Tibetan Buddhism are come out one after another. And now we have many schools in the Tibetan Buddhist schools. All is Buddhism. There's no difference at all, but slightly different of the techniques and approaching to discover again nature. So today I'm going to talk teaching is connected to the early teaching, what the great master Ngurupem Masambhava Chenda Rakchita brought, and teaching what they established. That teaching what we follow, I follow, and His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, one of the great master, he was a teacher of that lineage, and he followed that teaching. So this is his teaching, known as in Tibetan translated in English, mountain retreat. I go briefly about His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, so you will know this author, how he was. He was one of the great teachers, as I said many times, in the 20th centuries. And when Tibet had a very difficult times, like difficult time that never happened in the Tibetan history, the whole Tibet began to experience that tragic in the mid-1950s or 60s. That. So all many great masters are able to escape to India. At the same time, many Tibetans came. Many Tibetans followed with that. And all come in India, Nepal, and Bhutan. In that crucial moment or time, His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was the one of the major assistant with His Holiness Dalai Lama to reviving or re-strengthening or bring back of the Tibetan culture and the Tibetan religious and faith. So His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was one of the really great master, beacon of so many Tibetans. At that time, everyone is, their kind of spirit is so low, down to the kind of bottom, and everything is kind of, they lost everything, their family member and so forth. But yet, this His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was one of the great masters who really joined with closely to His Holiness Dalai Lama and brought hope and vision, some destination to the Tibetan refugees. So that, but at the same time, he was great master. He was predicted by Guru Pema Sambhava in 8th century. Guru Pema Sambhava came to Tibet to establish the Tibetan Buddhism in 8th century. But Guru Pema Sambhava, seeing the future, what is going to happen in Tibet throughout the generations, so Guru Pema Sambhava gave varieties of the predictions, one after another, and at that time, among that, and he predicted upcoming of His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, and he predicted his nature, his name, his characteristics, what he do, the activities, all that. Exiling Guru Pema Sambhava's prediction, that His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche did this. His Holiness, of course, is a Western name, so I'm using that. But in Tibet, we call it Chabje Dongyal Rinpoche. Truly, he was one of the great masters, great beings. But yet, he's so humble, so simple, down to the earth. He just act always as one of the us, nothing really any bigger and smaller than that. He was a beautiful person, and love and kindness, compassion, so humble, so appealing, so communicative, so friendly. And then he was also great, the visionaries and great poetries, writer, thinker. He wrote over 25 books that he wrote, and which is published now. And so this great master taught a variety of the teachings that brings the essence of the entire Buddha teachings from Buddha's age 35 to age 81 teaching, or 45 or 46 years teaching, that he really taught so many different levels that he condensed it. And this mountain retreat is the essence of those essence, one of the essence. So that is really like life story or the introduction of these great masters. And then mountain retreat now. This is translated as mountain retreats. Why is it called mountain retreats? Generally in Buddhism, again, Buddha taught that everyone should reconnect back to the nature. Nature of the environment, nature of the physical, nature of the mind. In order to reconnect back to the nature, then Buddha suggested from the busyness of the world and the city life should go to the hermitage, to the mountain, to connect it back. When you become stronger and more activated the true potential of the nature, then you can come back to the city or city life. But in order to strengthen yourself, to connect to the nature, you should go to the mountains or the hermitages. That was Buddha really suggested strongly that. And that was become very popular way to spend the lives of those practitioners who really like to connect to the nature. Nature and so many Buddhist countries. And many, like, such as Theravada countries too, like forest monks. They named forest monk, means hermitage, going to the mountain, become that. So this is like, in a way, how to connect with the nature. Nature and be in the mountain. So that's what called mountain retreat teaching. So that is really of these titles. Now, if you have these texts you can look. Otherwise, I just will go my this. So that is really about the title of this teaching. And then this teaching is begins with the kind of three topics. Three topics, and first one is how we should become more connected to the nature. And then second is how we should continually activate to be that nature continually maintained and bring the fulfillment of that. That is second. Third, then addition, instruction to the always, anytime, kind of addition instructions. So those are kind of three ways is explaining of these entire teachings. The first of all, again, he said in the teaching, said we all living beings, everyone, our nature is beautiful. That referring to our nature of the mind. Mind. It is so beautiful, is known as always good. And sometimes named as Buddha Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra is a Sanskrit word which means always good. But reality, that always good is your nature of the mind. Or anyone else, nature of the mind is always good. Nature is good because it is not obscured, not disturbed. It's so pristine and so aware and so waked. This is generally in the Buddha's teaching. I think many of you maybe heard this Buddha nature. Because we all have the awakening power that is really within our nature of the mind. In waking enlightened power of the mind is how we can become like as Buddha, or as we can become the truly embracing that everything is in the beautiful nature environments. That nature is residing right with us. That is a genre in the Buddha's teaching known as Buddha nature. Buddha Shakyamuni explained this nature in such as known as Lanka Avatar Sutras. That Buddha gave the teaching. According to Mahayana, Buddha went to Sri Lanka. When he came to the Sri Lanka, he gave that sutra known as Lanka Avatar Sutra. In that Lanka Avatar Sutra, Buddha said, Buddha nature is indestructible, is pristine, and undisturbable or cannot disturb. Disturbed is clear and brilliant and uncompounded. That is what the Buddha nature is. This Buddha nature is known as in the Dzogchen teaching, Buddha Samantabhadra, the original Buddha Samantabhadra, one's own awareness. That we all have. No one is absence, or no one is a lack of that nature. Every living being, we all have that nature. Not just only us, every living being, as I said, everyone has that nature. So that is our destination. That is our goal, to connect to the nature. To connect to that nature is not just only enough to connect to that nature, but we have to bring environment, everything to the natural states, as it is. When we bring everything in a natural status, then what it does, it will subsiding all the unnaturals. Unnatural will be dissipated, non-natural will be dissipated. And it will then strengthen our nature as it is, continually. And then all the difficulties, the troubles, and the challenges, we go ups and downs, all that will be subsided and dissolved. Then if that happens, our environment becomes more pristine, more beautiful, more nice, and more nice. Then finally become, in the Buddhism or in Dzogchen teaching, say that pure land, or the great, like as pure land of the Dharmakayas. So that is the absolute levels. Nature it is. In the Dzogchen teaching, often is mentioned here too. Nature is already waked up. Your nature and my nature is already waked up. There's nothing really need to do except have to discover. There's nothing really need to do anything for this. Completely enlightened. But then why we are not enlightened now? Why we not become as like Buddha, or as we found in the text, kind of explaining about the Buddha, why we are not like that? Because due to the obscurations. It's blocked. that nature, brilliant nature is blocked. Who created the obscurations? No one created obscurations except one's own self. What those obscurations are? It started with the duality mind. Duality mind is the beginning of the obscurations. From the duality, then brought up the ego clingings. Then ego clingings started with more duality activities, and that created all the kind of cow waves of the duality fabrications. And that covered our realities of the true nature, that beautiful enlightened qualities. So why we are doing practice? Why we are doing meditation? Why we are doing good things? Because to release, to remove that fabrication of the dualities, fabrication of that obscurations. That's what. And who have to do that? We have to do, according to Buddhism. We created the duality, we created the obscurations, we have the complete responsibility also to clear away that. Even somebody do, it will not going to help to us. For that reason, gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said in his teachings, I showed you the path. Now up to you to apply or not. I showed the path or techniques. For that reason, in Buddhism, gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni is known as always supreme teacher, great teacher who showed the clear way how to discover the nature. Buddha himself said he was once upon a time, he was a regular sentient being, heavily obscured, like many of us, like heavily obscured with full of emotions, full of negativities. But through his courage and commitment and awareness, he discovered nature. As he did, then he showed to us how way and technique how to do that. So therefore, our Buddha nature or the origin inherited, the Buddha Samhita Bhaddara is our goal to discover, goal of our practice, goal of our spiritual inner journey to discover that. That is really the goal. And once we discover that, what it comes, it's not just that we become, our individual become the enlightened, become great, but it become, you can be one of the great helpers and support to all the living beings. Our love and our compassion, our wisdom and skills are not limited. And outreaching is just like brilliant sun can reach to every living being and help and guide and support in a friendly manners, more simple, humble, more common sense level to can help to every living being and to bring that. And that is really known as beauty and a path of the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattva move from the heart journey that is started from the happy and love and compassion. It continued that journey of love and compassion and joy and appreciation, and discovered true nature exactly as it is. So for that reason here, teaching I'm translating this roughly here, but in English translated, the preparation, the first to cut the ties of the grasping and clinging, how to purify one's own mind stream, and by keeping the mind turned toward the Dharma. And the main practices, having to cut the misconception about, and that is the principle, the principle practice. Concluding, then I said, kind of like simple guidelines, additional instructions. The first one here, the great master, His Holy Dongyal Rinpoche said, about our mind, that is to say, that which is sometimes a clear awareness, sometimes a gloomy turmoil cross arose from the beginning. That is I think I already said that. I already said that this is the origin and nature of the mind. That is to discover. That is really our goals. And then again, according to the teaching, how I mean, it's just generally kind of like understanding, also you will understand about the Buddhism. I mean, those people don't know exactly that. Buddhism, in the teaching said, we're not just the first time in this world, first time. We've been so many lifetimes in this time, this place. So many lifetimes. And how long we will be here? We will be here again so many times in the future. And how we've been here? We've been here in this world without too much awareness or too much knowledge. And when we, for example, we think where we come from, the place to come from is not sure. And so, but however, we are here. And where we will go next time, we leave this world. We're not sure completely. Kind of is also in a very vague and like kind of not clear status. That's how we really been. We've been that way always because due to our involvement of the unnaturals. We've been a long time in that way. And we like to make sure that our destinations, then we have to bring more awareness, more clarity to our mind, our wisdoms. To do that, and that is known as then in Buddhism, to connect to the nature. Nature. And so therefore, then we should really, so to do this, and then what in the teaching said here, then we should really think of that entire this universe, and everyone, we all have the difficulty troubles. Everyone, it's not just only us. So therefore, we should really have more courage and commitment and confidence to bring up more genuine quality of our nature of the mind, which is known as love and kindness and compassion thought. Our present love and kindness and compassion thought are very much, again, kind of limited because due to the emotions and ego clingings. But ever trying to bring up that love and compassion to as much as we can. Reality level, our love and compassion has no boundaries. It's a pervasive nature. So really to bring up that quality as much as we can to all the living beings. This is known as practicing the Dharma. And if we have that love and kindness and compassion thought, that is also known as mindfulness. Our mind will become more calm, more peaceful, more stable. It will bring more relax to our spirit. It's everything, really that. And also knowledge will shine more clearly. So more love, more kindness. That is in the Mahayana Buddhism known as Bodhicitta. Many of you know the Bodhicitta. So bring that attitude to all the living beings as much as you can. But that is one of the practices. Together with that, in the teaching said that we should also have a great joy and appreciations. Joy and appreciation is so many levels. We have a lot of reason to be joy and appreciation. First of all, in Buddhism is what's called to be being as human beings is very special. Not just really coincidental. Truly as a lot of reason, lot of qualities to become as beautiful human beings. Then not just only human beings, we are truly very kind of spiritually connected human beings. Very kind of thoughtful human beings. We have some consideration, not just only ourselves, environmental level, the outer level, and our kind of neighbors and families, the country. Our mind is a little more open. That is also very special. This is not just coincidentally happening. It has a lot of beautiful reasons that have that kind of attitude, open mind, and a thoughtful and consciousness to thinking of the environment, the whole world, and how everyone. Really, it's very special in the Buddhism. It's very, very special. So therefore, bring more joy and appreciation. Then also we are all connected to the spirituals. Also we are all born in these beautiful countries, prosperous countries. It's all so beautiful, so spiritual. So bring more joy and appreciations. And even in the midst of the difficulty, troubles, we have a lot of reason to feel joy. There's a lot of jewel of the good qualities are shimmering. Even many surrounded by many troubles, difficulty in our lives, to bring that joy, more appreciation. According to Buddhism, joy and appreciation is a dawn of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not just going to come one day, oh, enlightenment, suddenly. No. Enlightenment started right now with each of us. How? Start with the joy, appreciation, more grateful. What you have, what are your situation and circumstances. I'm to compare even this world right now. If you look around the world through the news and television, how much suffering is going on, really. And how much sufferings, mental problems, psychological problems, and all these fears, and hungry, thirsty, so many things are going on. To compare with that, we are in heavens. I can find that, recognize that. This is not just a storytelling, it's true. Enjoy that, appreciate that. And when we do the appreciate, enjoy that, that is in Buddhism, in the Dzogchen teaching, it's called practicing Dharma. You're putting the switch on of the enlightenment, not stay in the dark corner side all the time and everything become dark. We have to bring light. That is the beginning of enlightenment. Joy and appreciation, being grateful, being graceful, acknowledge that. Also that is known as, in a common sense level, noble person. In world level, that good person. And all that is really important to bring up this. Joy and beautiful appreciation, all that. And then also let a more open mind, not narrow cornered. Practice Dharma means more open heart and open mind. Also reflecting our mind, let more about where things are, where nature is. That is known as impermanent. You all know everything is changing. Everything is moving. There's nothing stays forever. Or even one instant, nothing is changed. Whether we notice it or whether we don't notice it. Everything is really changing. Bring that kind of way things are. We like to look clearly as it is. And we think of that impermanent, of that system, that notion, this kind of occurrence of the phenomena. It is mindful practices, mindfulness. You're connected to the way things are, nature, not just ignoring and miss the way things are. We don't have to stay in the darknesses. We have to be clear. So, impermanent, changing things. This is like look to the back, to our sense that we have the memories. How many things are changed? And how many things are changing now? How many things will change the same thing in the future? In global level, in a local level, individual level, and everything is really changing. That. And therefore, again, strengthen more courage and commitment, confidence, love and compassion thought for all living beings. Really thinking that very strongly and sincerely. And wish everyone got clear understanding of that. And sincerely wishing that is known as a very famous meditation practices in impermanent. And as I said, it is a very famous mindfulness meditation. You're connected to nature. And when you do this, what it does, it will bring more kind heart, soft heart, tender heart. We will be down more on the ground, not hovering carried by the space. We really well grounded that. And so therefore, it's very beautiful, spatial this. So for that reason, reflect the mind in impermanent as much as we can. And then in the world general levels, there's so many difficult troubles going in this world. And then according to Buddhism, there's many more worlds, not just only human worlds. So many different worlds. There's also a lot of troubles, a lot of difficulties, ups and downs going that. Really, this is so much everywhere some is going on. For that reason, then again, feel more compassion, more kindness, more kind of good thought. If you send that energy, waves of energy, even is like mental status, but it will help. Really, according to the teaching, it really will help to everyone so much in this. That is how the power of the beneficial begins with mind, not from outside, with your heart, with your mind. It begins. So therefore, put more kind of like thinking of everyone's this. So therefore, those are and then so with those beautiful thought, and then you begin to really trying to do such as little bit meditation practices. Meditation is actually, what is meditation? Means it's just resting on the mind in a natural status to do little practices. Again, with good intention, good thought. Start with good thought, such as good thought, thinking about all living beings. Everyone really want to be free from suffering and difficulties. And also I like to bring joy and peace, happiness, and cause of that joy and peace, happiness. And with that very beautiful thought, with all the Buddhas, all the enlightened beings, mighty forces, may I help me to fulfill my beautiful goal to benefit, to help to every living being. With that thought, and then we start like that meditation practices. So that is how really we begins with this. And when you do practices, also if we can do, for example, like for for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever you do, meditation or the practices, but trying to keep that commitment, keep that thought, and keep that time during to do the practices. So that is how to begin these practices, and then with this, and then start a practice with good heart and good intentions, good thought, and so do the practices. So that is really about the beginning or this first stage as explained here. The first, like as a foundation or the preparation, he said, preparation. Explain about those preparations. Now, then we begin to the main practice or the principal practices. Principal practice is now, first of all, I said already, that our destination our destination, our goal is to discovering our inner natures. And the nature and connect to the nature, environmental level, and the physical level, and our mind levels. According to the Dzogchen teaching, it started from the mind. Mind is the principle. When mind is connected to the nature, then physical environment levels naturally will connect it. And this is what the Dzogchen teaching or the Tantra teachings. In Mahayana teaching, Sutra teachings are in a way coming to the nature from the outskirt, gradually coming from outskirt to the nature. But Dzogchen teaching from the discovering nature from the heart, and then to the expanding to the every directions. As like sun, billion sun shines, and then it will. Sun itself is clear in a billion, and then it radiated to every direction and become light. So same way, Dzogchen teaching going to the source and to the nature and to the mind, right, to the mind. And now to do this again I talk the Dzogchen. What means Dzogchen? Dzogchen is the Tibetan terminologies. It is the meditation actually, meditation practice, but what means Dzogchen? It's translated great perfection or great completions. Great perfection means if you discover the nature of the mind, everything will become perfect. So our perfection is relying whether we discover the nature of the mind or not. If we discover nature of the mind, it will discover everything as great perfections. And what means great perfections? If we discovered, if within the mind, nature of the mind, everything is completed. Everything. Mind is the principle. Therefore, our perceptions, conceptions are all completed within the mind. There's nothing else beside. For that reason, great completion. Mind is the place of everything is completed in brilliance. So that is really the word meaning of the Dzogchen. Now, when we do the Dzogchen practices, how we do practices? Dzogchen practices. Dzogchen is now generally two. Meditation, how we meditate or how we practice during the meditation and how we do in the post-meditations, Dzogchen. And now we go first to the meditation levels, how we meditate. Meditating means we're going to relaxing our mind in a natural state. We're going to rest our mind. In order to do this, present our mind is very kind of like not restful, quite scattered. In order to do that, then first is shamatha meditation is very important. Shamatha meditation means relaxing in a natural state. Naturally, or like not wandering, not distracted mind. So, therefore, have to trying to stay in the mind. At the same time, we look to the mind. And what in the Dzogchen teachings said, everything is mind. That means perception is mind, conception is mind. All is mind. Mind. And what that mind is empty. Mind is empty. That emptiness is what? It's awareness. Awareness. And emptiness and awareness are in a union, in a separable status. That's how is this. Now you think, we all should think, when the teaching said, all perception is the mind, all conception is the mind. It's not we talking somebody else's perception, conception is the mind. It's talking, pointing out to each of us in the teaching, by this teaching, that all perception is the mind and conception is the mind. It is true or not? You should think. What means actually perceptions? Perception in this case, maybe I can translate it instead perception. All appearance is mind. Everything is mind, all appearance. So that means the object of the six senses are all mind. When we think, I saw things, I see by my eye. In this teaching now referring is mind. When I think I heard this word, this teaching referring that hearing is mind. That smelling is mind. The tasting is mind. The touch is mind. The imagination, thought, thinking is mind. That we should think if it's true or not. You think this. But when according to the teaching, it's all mind. Who really decided? I see. It's nobody else, second person came, or you saw this. It's our mind said, I see. And then I hear, I smell, I taste, I touch, or I think, I thought, I think. Reality level, everything, all the objective senses are decided by the mind. Think of that. Is true or not? So then that means mind is a ruler of the six objects of the senses. Everything, whether it's good or bad or neutral, whatever it is ruled, decided, and confirmed by the mind. For that reason, mind is boss. Mind rules our all the dominions. Mind is ruler. Mind rules our all the senses and our object of senses, making decisions, this and that things. So that's how the mind is. Now that boss, that ruler, everything, what is that mind? Then in Dzogchen teaching said, mind is empty. Or not just the Dzogchen teaching, but all the Buddha teachings from the Mahayana teaching all the way until the Dzogchen, every one voice, all is mind. Mind is empty. Now you think also, mind is empty. Is why? How that mind is empty? You can think. In a gracious teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching, he said you can think, you can analyze, you can discuss that. If it's not true, you can say things. It's not something that Buddha said and we have to follow with that. You can think. So Buddha said, in the teaching said, in all the great masters who practice and meditate, everybody said, yes, that's really true. All those great scholars, thinkers in Buddhism, both in India and in Tibet, in other countries, everyone said the same thing. Mind is empty. Think of that. How that is empty? That is known as then present our mind, for example, looking to our mind. Where this mind come from? If you think of the mind come from, where this come from? What answer we have? What destination or source of the mind come from? What we have, what we can say? See, it's speechless. There's nothing really we can say. We're talking our own present mind. We're not talking someone else's mind. Our mind currently investigating, analyzing by our intelligence, looking to the system of the way the mind is operating. That's where our mind comes from. It's like source is free. There's source is like no source. That. And then where mind is going or went, past mind, or where it will go. What answer again we have? There's nothing we can say. That. And where present is our mind is? Our mind or your mind? Our mind. What answer we have? Is again, there we don't have any answers. That is what in the teaching talking is empty. Empty. That is the talking teaching of the emptiness. So there's nothing really we can see, detect it. There's nothing we can pinpoint. This is not just making stories, but that's the really reality, fact. Fact, reality checks. Reality checks. So that's the way the things are. That's all. This is not just a few of our mind is like that, but everyone's mind is the same thing. But this is what they call the emptiness. This emptiness mind is not blank emptiness. Blank is not the negation status. Even though we cannot detect it, we cannot pinpoint, identify any of the source existing in the destination of the mind, yet mind is here. Yet our mind is here. We are thinking, we are analyzing, we are reflecting, we are thinking this and that. All is mind. Even though we cannot pinpoint the exactly locations at that. That is what is known as emptiness is awareness. Emptiness is awareness. Is arising. Is awareness. Is intelligence. Nobody can deny that. It's all brilliant, vividly reflecting, analyzing, thinking this and that things. It's awareness. That is what. This awareness, that emptiness, is union. There's no separations. No separations at all, or no different. Both are in both. This is not just in the Dzogchen teaching. For example, when we chant Heart Sutras, many of you do Heart Sutras. What in Heart Sutra, gracious teacher Buddha said, form is emptiness. Emptiness is the form. That's the same thing. Awareness is emptiness, emptiness is awareness. All consciousness is emptiness, and emptiness is consciousness. This is the way the nature is. So discovering that nature, exactly as it is, simply relaxing in the state, that nature state is meditation, is mindfulness, is awareness, mindfulness, to relaxing that nature state as long as we can. And that always in the teaching said, start with a good heart. Good heart. Love, kindness, compassion, thought. Then if you can do also postures are quite good. Good postures. Those are like, as you know, a lot of postures, or the Vajra postures, or semi-lotus postures, semi-Vajra postures. Those postures, many of you know those things. With those postures. Postures are also important because in the teaching it said, if you create the beautiful circumstance and situation, that will help to activating the light in our heart. It will help. Because in the phenomenal level, everything is connected with the connections. And connected with what's called dependent to each other. All is connected. All is dependent. In the phenomenal level, there's nothing is not connected. That everyone is in a way support to each other. Whatever that is happening is support to each other that way and going to happen. Things are happening. So therefore, in the teaching, many of those creative masters in the practice in lineage said, if you make the good circumstances, good interdependent coordination to the physical level, then realization shines in the heart. This is. So therefore, postures, those are really good. Gestures, or where sitting, all those, because all is connected. Body is connected with the channels or the nerve systems. Nerve system is very much connected with the movement of the energies. And energy is very much connected with our mind. And the mind is very much connected to the brain nature of the mind, or to shine, to come out, shine or come out, that beautiful natures. So therefore, those are all known as basically shamatha meditations. Do really with that good shamatha meditations. Then with this thought. Now, what is this? Excuse me, what's the time now? What? 29? 29. Okay. 29, that's it. So now, to do the shamatha meditation, of course, many of you know, I'm sure know that, but shamatha is a Sanskrit word which means relaxing our mind, relaxing the mind, or sometimes translated, abiding calm. So that indicating present, mostly our mind is very busy, and very, very kind of always moving. But shamatha means now relaxing in that one nature status or one status, not disturbed. That. In order to do this, and then gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni gave a lot of instructions how to do the shamatha meditation. One of the very popular, famous shamatha technique of meditation is following the breathings, watching the breathings. Present time, our breathing, we don't really watch at all. We don't think at all about the breathings. Kind of, it's just a normal like that. But if we watch breathing, in the teaching said, it really very much immediately will affect or the calmness of our brain, because our breathing is the like principal kind of like assistant or the support of the mind. Mind is always moving with the breathing or the wind energy. Our body has many wind energies, wind, related with wind, and mind is always accompanied by the wind. So when we watch the breathings, it immediately we're walking with the wind, and that will immediately help to calm down our mind. And therefore, so watching breathing is one of the very famous meditation of the shamatha in Buddhism. And again, every session begins with a good heart, joy and appreciations. And also thinking of all living beings, really sincerely wish everyone is happy, everyone is free from suffering and difficulty, troubles. And really feel that strongly. And when I do this meditation, my meditation, may that become one of the greatest support to bring that goal, to bring peace and joy, happiness to every living being. Wishing that sincerely that. And if we think that and relax our mind for 1 minute or 2 minutes, that is powerful meditation. That is very powerful mindfulness. We are touching to our core of the nature. You're wishing joy and good things to every living being. Really is very powerful. Immediately that will help us to calm down our so many things. Our mind will become more calm, mind will become more peaceful, and mind will become more open, not closed, kind of tight like that. You're opening, relaxing, stretching out. It's beautiful exercise or mental exercise, and calm down. With that, and then watch breathing. Watch breathing in and out maybe 5 times. Just exactly follow the breathing. Nothing really changed, anything. Simply follow the breathing. Start from the nostrils and go in, follow the exhale, inhale, and count that as 1. And do that 5 times. If our mind stayed with that breathing 5 times you count, that is good shamatha. That means our mind calmly abide for about 5 seconds or something, whatever that. Exhale, inhale as 1, and then exhale, inhale 2 times, 3, so maybe about 5 seconds. If we able to, but that is the big cornerstones of bring mind more calm and peaceful. And that time, our mind has become calm, but also the effect really is spread out, the whole physicals. Everything is beginning to calm. All our energy, all our nerve systems, every channels and muscles are also really calming down. Not just only mind. Mind is powerful. It rules everything. So it calms down. And 5 times that. And then do again and again. That. If it's too difficult sometimes, mind again not staying, kind of abiding nicely. And even in the teaching say, start counting the numbers. numberly maybe meditate that. Bring down from the 9 to 1, and again 1 to 9s or 10s, up and down, again follow with that. Those all techniques are known as shamatha meditation. Shamatha meditation is like very much like foundation of the Dzogchen meditation. And then, so therefore, in the teaching always mentioned, really do the shamatha meditation as much as you can. Then you start a Dzogchen meditation. Dzogchen meditation is simply tell is like vipassana meditation. It's synonym. Dzogchen is vipassana. But to bring the good Dzogchen meditation or perfect Dzogchen meditation, good to have foundation as a shamatha meditation. That is how we start shamatha meditation. That, okay? And that is my brief talk for today. If you have any questions, I'm really happy to discuss. Thank you. Yes? What?
Thank you very much for the teaching.
Well, thank you.
I was wondering, in all the traditions, I noticed that they have these 8 consciousnesses. Even some Theravada masters talking about the 8. And but then when I was reading, for example, this Dalai Lama book, Sleeping, Dreaming, and Dying, he was making a distinction between clear light and clear light of death as that relates to storehouse consciousness, this 8th one. And I was wondering, in Dzogchen, is it different? Can we find Rigpa, Ma Rigpa, Semni? Can we find that in the 8?
Yes, this is in the 8. All those are the kind of division and explanation of the mind. Mind is then the source of the mind in the teaching. So then, as you said, subconsciousness storehouse or Kunji. So these are all the same, Semni, Maripa, all those is really comes from Kunji or the all subconsciousness storehouse. Then what do you say about Dalai Lama something?
Sleeping, Dreaming, Dying. He was comparing the Yogacara 8 consciousnesses. He was saying that in Dzogchen, I don't know if it was the Semdi, Dzogchen, Longdi, which Dzogchen, I don't know. But he was saying that clear light is, there's some differences between storehouse consciousness in Yogacara and this clear light in Dzogchen.
I can't tell exactly what it means, but clear light, subconsciousness storehouse, actually, according to the teaching, there is 2 subconsciousness storehouse. It's called the subconsciousness storehouse of the habitual patterns, variety of habitual pattern. That is the source of all our present this samsara or the worldly kind of like all this. That is subconscious storehouse of the variety habitual patterns. Then subconsciousness storehouse of the origin nature. Origin nature, that is same as Buddha nature. That is the same as clay light status. Stay light. So when that His Holiness Dalai Lama referring that subconsciousness storehouse, the variety of the subconsciousness storehouse is the like this samsara, which is not clay light, but original, sometimes named original subconsciousness storehouse, origin nature of the subconsciousness storehouse, and that is a clay light or the Buddha nature. Nelo in the Tibet it says Nelo Tongje Kunjim. Nelo Tongje Kunjim.
Oh yeah. And then this watcher that sorry, if I could have one more question. This watcher, when we talk about the watcher, is this Ma Rigpa? Can we associate that with the 7th consciousness? This sort of.
You mean watcher, the one who watch?
Yeah.
That is connected to the Ma Rigpa or the ignorance.
Yeah.
Because why? As long as we have the notion of the subject and object, grasping, it is connected to the marikpas. Marikpas. So that means grasping to the subject, grasping to the object, that clinging, that grasping, according to the teaching, is really started with the, or it has marikpa. Marikpa means, in the Tibetan word marikpa, which means ignorance or dullness.
Okay. Tuche.
Okay.
Hi, Rinpoche. Could you talk a little bit about the statement, thus have I heard, in relationship to the different consciousnesses, I, ear? It's Ananda's statement, thus have I heard.
Say that again, one more.
Thus
I heard.
Thus have I heard. It
That
seemed
means Heart
like
Sutra you're talking.
in the Heart Sutra, it seems like Ananda is saying, I'm not sure what other people heard, but this is what I heard. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Could you talk a little bit about that statement in relationship to...
Thus I heard.
Thus have I heard, in relationship to perception,
Mm-hmm.
how we hear things or perceive things.
Thus I've heard is the beginning of the Heart Sutra, right? Beginning of the Heart Sutra. So that refers, thus I've heard, and that means thus I heard, all, and as well as thus all the audience heard.
Did they hear the same thing?
Of course. That is according to the teaching. They had everyone is the same thing, really. That they all had. That is, I mean, that's the indicator. It didn't say that I heard something, you heard something. This is not really. They didn't really mention according to the teaching. I'm just follow the teaching. What in the teaching said, because that is actually. And always going to give the teaching, those when Buddha's teachings are like based upon the perfect time, perfect teacher, perfect place, the perfect audience, and perfect teaching, all that. So five perfect is way. So this is thus I heard. It is also referring the time. Time, that means that time. So that means all the audience are gathered, and also Buddha is there, and the place that places, and then that teaching came. So all the audience heard. So it is really, according to the teaching, is within the five perfect, but that thus I heard, it is mainly or more connected to the indicating of the times and perfect times. Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you could say something about the way that this practice and this perspective is related to the creation stage.
Say that again.
To the way in the creation and completion, in visualization practice. How is this perspective related to the creation stage?
How the perception is related with the creation stage?
It's clear to me how this perspective, Dzogchen
resting
in the
Dzogchen
mind
is
nature,
related.
it's clear to me how that's connected to the completion stage. Could you say a little bit about how it's connected to the creation stage?
The Dzogchen status, in the Dzogchen teaching said, everything is in a three kaya status. Three kaya status, dharmakaya status, sambhokaya status, and nirmakaya status. Everything is in a three kaya status. So that how that is, it started your nature of the mind, or mind is within the three kaya status. And our mind, or everyone's mind, is a three kaya status. And reflection of that inner three kaya, when it's reflected externally, then so all this environment is also in three kaya status. Three kaya status. All the forms are the nirmakaya mandalas, and all the sound systems are, out of sound systems are sambhokaya status, and all the space is in dharmakaya status. So that is really the the understanding of the Dzogchen levels of the entire. Our form, our sound, our mind, again, if we go pacifically, our mind is in Dharmakaya, our speech is in Sambhokaya, our form is in Nirmakaya status. So that is the way the nature is. So when you do the creation stages, you're activating where things are, those Nirmakaya and the Sambhokaya. That is really known as the creation stage practices or visualization. Exactly, you're activating that. And then completion stage is Dharmakaya. But in reality level, both are, all are in a union. There's no really this and that and all that. All is all. And that's what called everything come in one space in one zero or big zero status. Everything is within one space status. All is the same. So that is, so therefore, Dzogchen teaching is always the teaching says ultimate state of the teachings of the creation stage as well as the completion stages. Stages, the ultimate. There's nothing higher and deeper and better than go to the Dzogchen teaching. Even the Buddha Shakyamuni is right here. If we ask the teaching of the Dzogchen, bigger and better Dzogchen teaching than the Dzogchen, he says there's nothing more than that. Really nothing. So for that reason, the Dzogchen is the end of the final teachings. And the great, among the teachers, the Kunda Zamgo is the end of the, among all the teachers, grand teachers. Until Kunda Zamgo, there is many teachers, these and that things, but he is the final. Or the Kunda Zamgo, male and female, is the final, and the Dzogchen is the final.
Thanks.
In the Dzogchen tradition, there is any dance and singing and dancing traditions?
What?
Singing and dancing in the Dzogchen tradition.
Yeah, it's all is like Dzogchen teacher. I mean, there's everything is musical. Everything is dancing. All the sounds are the divine sound. So therefore, is the music. Divine sound is beautiful, soothing, echoing all the time. And every movement is dancing because it's nothing really staying 1 second. All is moving. And they have so many, what's called choreographies. So many choreographies are moving back and forth. All this, everything. The higher level, gross level, subtle level, the whole planet, everything is moving and is in dancing mood. And how that dancing and moving in the teaching is all in the great blissfulness. Great blissfulness, clarity state. Really, that it's Dzogchen teaching. That's the really teaching state.
Thank you. Remember, to follow up on that question, so in the tantric view, you have the lama dances and sometimes the mask and great pastimes of Guru Rinpoche and other things. So I think Prashal's question was in the Dzogchen itself. Is there this kind of dancing like you have, like we associate so much more with like tantric practices?
Dzogchen teaching, I think generally there's not organized. I don't so big organized like dancings. Dzogchen is spontaneous as it comes. Yeah, really spontaneous arising energy. So when you have that realization, many great masters sing and dance, even if you see some in the Tibet, is those holy places, there's on the feet, for instance, on the stones, they say, this master sing and dance, that. So it's a spontaneously arising kind of sing, not kind of like kind of structurally like as a dance and movie. But however, as you say, the Lama dance and the Lama singing, those are very renowned. Those are the really teachings, so particularly more related with the Mahayogas. Mahayoga or the Father Tantra, Mother Tantra related, and they do those prayers. But then nature is Dzogchen. The Dzogchen is, I'm sure many of you you know that in the Dzogchen what teaching said that Mahayoga is like ground, Anu Yoga is a path, and the Dzogchen is a result. So they are all connected. It's not something really different from each other. But directly in the Dzogchen teaching, I don't think there's so many kind of like structurally formed as like dance and that is Dzogchen is, as I said is most kind of spontaneously, as uncontrived, unregulated, arising energy, relaxing in that natural state as it is, and discover the beauty and the nature as it is. Yes?
Rinpoche, some teachers talk about the mind, and then some teachers talk about the heart. Are they the same or are they different?
It's really same. Many times in Tibet, when they talk about the mind, many times they talk heart. So they really end talking about the mind. But however, according to the teaching itself, where mind is, of course, say where mind is now, but of course there's no really place we say that. But a primary location of the mind in the teaching said, in Vajrayana teaching said, is in the heart center. Really, mind is residing in the heart center. This brain is, of course, that, but this is second kind of like office, like really like heart is really the principle, but this is capital Senate House. No, really, it's true in the teachings, because this is like where all the actions are happening. But reality in the mind, really is the nature of the mind, what we talk, it is absolute Buddha nature, all that residing right in our heart center, and that's what called heart is so important.
Thank you.
Yeah. See there one?
Rinpoche, I just wanted to thank you very much. I wanted to thank you very much for emphasizing the heart and to have that aspiration to help all human beings or all living beings, to emphasize that, to emphasize kindness and compassion. It's needed so much, and I needed to hear that a lot too. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then.
One more?
Yeah.
One question.
Well, don't let that guy over there. Thank you. Oh, well, do you want it? Oh. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for coming to see us again. I certainly had wished it had been 6 months, but I'd take the year. So my question's about ultimate bodhicitta. So it's from what I understand, and I'm just touching Dojin now, but from what I understand, ultimate bodhicitta is when you begin to convert. You just sort of automatically convert how you had felt about things or how you had acted in such a way that you've had a realization and you've practiced and you've devoted yourself to cultivating bodhicitta, and then at some point it becomes just what you do, and that ultimate bodhicitta is that everything you do benefits all beings. Yes? So would you, if you were doing that, would you necessarily be aware of the things you were doing, or would you just be doing the same things really that you had been doing, but you now are made up, if you will, rather than mundane bodhicitta, you're now made up of ultimate bodhicitta?
I think I understand. But however, the bodhicitta is really very special, definitely. There is nothing better than a bodhicitta. As you said, relative true bodhicitta and then ultimate bodhicitta, I think you're talking. Relative true bodhicitta is our intention, our thought. Start with the four boundless. And with four boundless in the heart and reflecting the four boundless of the practice into the action with the 6 paramatas. I'm sure many of you know the four boundless, but four boundless are, few of you don't know. four boundless are boundless love, or sometimes translated infinite love, infinite compassion, infinite rejoice or the joy, and infinite equanimities. Those are the root of the bodhicitta, and those are the ground of the bodhicitta. With that attitude, that intention in the heart or in the mind, then reflecting that through the six paramitas. And I'm sure, again, of course, many of you know the six paramitas. Few of you don't know, I will list it. Six paramitas are the tools to activating the four infinite or four boundless. Those are the generosity practices, morality practices, passion practices, joyful effort practices, and concentration practices, and wisdom practices. And each of those six paramitas are absolutely based upon the four boundless. So when we do the generosity practices, it's a reflection of the love, compassion, rejoice, and equanimities. When we practice morality, and it's the same thing. So the four boundless is the essential pillar of the six paramita, and then you practices continually, and then when we continue practices, then absolute bodhicitta is a dzogchen meditation, or dzogchen realization is the absolute bodhicitta, and then, but again, relative truth of bodhicitta and absolute truth of bodhicitta, not separate, again in the union and continually benefiting to every living beings, and that is depends. Those people who are highly realization, they are aware how much they're benefiting. If they don't have the high realization immediately, but as long as you're doing that way, it's really benefiting to others, it's benefiting to you. It is like what here you call win-win situation. You really wins. You are winning, others are winning. Therefore, journey of the Bodhisattva is a journey of the fulfillment, joy, and then encouragement, and then really you stay in this world with joy and appreciation and good fulfillments, and leave this world with that attitude. And according to Buddha's teaching, next life will be again continued. You connect to that, and next will be again maybe more even brighter and more stronger than continue to move and advance that. So that is what the really teaching said. Okay, thank you everyone again. Thank you very much everyone for coming, and thank you so much. We do just 1 minute silence again, in silence, and then I do this what we're talking so much about the bodhicitta. I dedicated this. I do some prayer, but you join your intention with my prayer. So we dedicated this merit to everyone, natural level, to really so many natural disasters occurring. Always that, but there's so many happening now, and then also so many violence, there's so many things going on. Really, we wish that is what we can do. That's everyone is doing something to help with all things, but we do that, and I think this is something really we contributed to everyone. And so then I do short prayers. So join your intention for that reason. But before that, we do just 1 minute silence, and then we do that. Sonam de Tamje Zakwani, Tone, Nipedana, Panze de Jigana, Jebalon, Tukba, Subam Solen, Doa, Dora, Joy, Pemden, Yuen, Jeba, Temba, Yorin, Nebata, Temban, Zambe, Chiona, could say Jamsi, Danger, Sula, Kana, Lopa, Kadun, Chijilene. Tokra Gendun Tambada, Gendun the Baryo, and Zamlay Jeda, Yerkanda, the Nemo, so the Haramemeta, Chudis on a Pamjero Conde, Todo Rashi de la Imbanzo, is on your Semjo, Ramboche, Maji, Pane, Chijoroji. Chibanyamba Mebaye, Kone Kon, Bewara Yo and Gwen Loy, Jusan, and Loche, Zamlay Sosa, Jabaramba, Roji, Josan, Hawa, Mandra to Sangele, Yo. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank everyone. Thank everyone. Thank. Have a good evening. Good night. Thank everyone.